Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. My name's Jonathan Curtis. Today I'm discussing the difference between the two grooves I just played. The difference of course being the first half of the groove was straight, the second half of the groove was in swing, had a swing feel to it. I want to explore today what that actually means, because a lot of people have a basic understanding of this without necessarily having a clear formal or theoretical understanding. So I want to discuss that today. The difference between straight or swing, if we ignore for now the very visceral intuition of how it feels, if we talk strictly in the formal sense for now, the difference between straight and swing is how we subdivide the beat. Rhythm is all about how we subdivide the beat, and depending on how we subdivide that beat gives us a straight rhythm or a swing rhythm. So what does this mean? Well, let's take our basic beat on the quarter note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Our basic beat is neither swing nor straight, it is just the beat. What we do with that informs whether our rhythm becomes straight or swing. The first subdivision for a beat is 2, simply dividing that rhythm, dividing that pulse in half. This is our 8th note, right? This is our quaver. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... An 8th note subdivision is, of course, a multiple of 2. It's 2 itself. It can't be anything else. It is 2. Anything based in 2 gives us a straight rhythm, and this is something we're going to explore further, okay? So when I play my basic groove, when I play a basic time feel, if I just use 8th notes, I can't be anything but straight. I can't swing if I'm using just straight 8th notes. By straight 8th notes, I mean evenly spaced, the bona fide 2-beat subdivision. I was only using 8th notes there. I didn't use anything other than a subdivision of 2 for my beat. I was only ever on the beat, or I was only ever on the and. As I just said, I can't swing using those subdivisions. I cannot make that beat swing. It is a straight groove because it is a division of 2. If we move up the rhythm scale and we instead work with 4, we get the same thing. 4, of course, being a multiple of 2 is 2 times 2. This gives us semiquavers, 16th notes, which is dividing our beat into 4 equal parts. And a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. This gives us the same thing, as long as I strictly stay using 16th notes. So everything I play is either on the 1, on the E, the and, or the Again, I can't make it swing because I'm a multiple of 2, with a slight caveat, which we'll come to in a minute. But because I'm playing with a multiple of 2, my subdivision of 4, I cannot swing. It grooves, it sounds good, but it's not swing. It is very definitely straight. In terms of how this feels, I'm a very visual person. To me, this is a very square, straight edge type feeling. It feels like I'm going around the 4 corners of a square. It may feel slightly different to you, but nevertheless, it gives us that recognizably straight rhythmic sensation. Again, moving up the rhythm table, I'm going to jump to 8 this time. Again, a multiple of 2, bear this in mind. If I work now with 8th notes, 16th notes, and 32nd notes, I get the same feel for the groove. I can't make it swing. So there, I was starting to throw in some 32nd notes, which is of course working with an 8-note subdivision, dividing our beat into 8. What do we notice about the subdivisions of 2, 4 and 8? Well, yes, they are all multiples of 2, but they are not multiples of 3. And this is where we start to explore our crucial difference between straight and swing. Because once we start to introduce 3 and multiples of 3, we step from straight into swing. To explore this, let's take a very simple rhythm using a 3-note subdivision. I'm going to use 6/8. Now 6/8 has 2 dotted crotchets to the bar, each one divided into 3 quavers. So 2 dotted quarter notes divided into 2 groups of 3 eighth notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we start to feel that recognizably swung, swaying, pendulum-like rhythm because we're working with a 3-note subdivision. If I speed that up and I remove the middle note of the 3-note subdivision, so instead of playing, I just play the 1 and the 3, we get this shuffle rhythm that is commonly called a swung 8th note. So here is a prime example of using our 3-note subdivision as our basic rhythmic subdivision. We've got a swing feel, okay? Even though in common parlance we talk about swung 8th notes, that's simply because it's easier to work with rather than sticking rests in everywhere. But what's actually happening there is we are taking a 3-note subdivision and we are cutting out the middle note, but we are still working, as I demonstrated, with a 3-note subdivision. And this is what gives us our swing feel, okay? If we double this up to 6, a 6-note subdivision, we get a sort of busier, more frantic, but nevertheless swinging rhythm. So this gives us our crucial difference here. We can talk about multiples of 2 and multiples of 3, but what it really comes down to is, are we using a 2 or a 3-note rhythm to divide our beat? So in the groove at the start of this video, I started out using a groove that was very much multiples of 2, with the exception of 6. So I was using 8th notes, I was using 16th notes, and I was using the odd 32nd notes. This gives us that busy, straight funk feel. In order to play this, just make sure you don't play a subdivision that's anything other than a 2, a 4 or an 8. So I was only ever using 8th notes, 16th notes and 32nd notes. In the second half of the groove at the start of this video, I changed that and I stopped working with 4s and 8s and instead started working with 6s. So what I played, the rhythm I played, the groove patterns I played, could be plotted on 3 and 6 note subdivisions. So I was either playing a 3-note subdivision, or, much more in the style of the sort of funk thing I was going for, a 6-note subdivision. This is what's commonly called a 16th note swing. It has the same properties as an 8th note swing, but the note values are doubled. Now you'll notice I can make a 16th note swing sound straight if I don't play any subdivisions. If I'm just here, we can't tell, strictly speaking, whether I'm straight or swung until I use a subdivision. So if I use a 4 or an 8 note subdivision, I give myself away, I'm playing in straight. Instead, if I jump onto a 3 or 6 note subdivision, playing on a 1 and a 1 and a 2 and a 2 and a 3 and a 3 and a 4 and a 4 and a, I give myself away as a swung rhythm. That rhythm I just played can only be plotted on a 6 note subdivision. That rhythm can't be found on a 4 note grid, if you like. Imagine it as a 4 note or a 6 note grid. The rhythm can't be plotted on a 4 note grid. It has to be a 6 note grid. So really, when we are switching between a straight and a swung groove, what we're actually doing is jumping from a 2, 4 and 8 note subdivision into a 2, 3 and 6 note subdivision. So really we're trying to remember 2, 4 and 8 is straight, 3 and 6 is swing. There's almost a rhyme in there, but not quite. So when you're aware of this, you can very subtly manipulate the feeling of the music you're playing, because if the main subdivision of the music you're playing along to is 8th notes or just even the quarter note, you can subtly change from a swung feel to a straight feel depending on whether you pick up a 4 and 8 note subdivision or a 3 and a 6 note subdivision. So you can play the same groove, you can make it straight, or you can jump onto a 6 note subdivision and make it swung. Notice my hi-hat hasn't changed. All I'm doing is switching between this and this. Bit of a left-hand workout. So depending on how I hear those rhythms and how I choose to place my subdivisions gives us a straight feel or a swung feel. If that's not making sense, just remember anything that's a 2, 4 and 8 is a straight rhythm. Anything that's a 3 and a 6 is going to be a swing feeling rhythm. So hopefully this has given you something to think about, and how you approach the grooves you play and how you can subtly manipulate the feeling of the music you play. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you found something of interest here. Hopefully there's enough to make you think about the way you approach the grooves and what it really means to play a swing and a straight feel. If you've enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like, because it really helps the channel, and I hope to see you on the next one. Thanks very much. Thanks for watching today. If you've enjoyed this video and you've enjoyed other videos on the channel, please consider heading over to Patreon and supporting the channel there, because that really helps me to keep producing these videos, make them more often and of a much higher quality. So thanks very much for your support, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Cheers.